Hello and welcome to our English news edition broadcast to you from Canal, Algérie. First, to the headlines. The President of the Republic, Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense Abdelmajid Tebboune chairs today a meeting of the Council of Ministers. The President of the Republic sends a message of congratulations to Charles III, proclaimed King of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The Army General Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Saïd Chinguereha, chairs an award ceremony in honor of the National Cynotechnic Military Team under the command of the National Gendarmerie. Morocco is still drowning in a chaotic situation. More people are taken to the streets denouncing the normalization of relations with the Zionist entity, and the National Union of Moroccan Teachers is threatening to boycott the next school year. The Sahrawi human rights activist Sultana Khaya arrives in Paris and receives a warm welcome from the Sahrawi people and the French civil society, whom she impressed by her strength and determination to fight for the rights of her people. Good evening, those were the headlines. First, in our news, the President of the Republic, Supreme Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense Abdelmajid Tebboune chairs today a meeting of the Council of Ministers, a meeting devoted to the examination of the draft of Declaration of General Policy of the government and other draft laws relating to the organization and functioning of the National People's Assembly and the Council of the Nation, to the written and electronic press, the prevention and fight against corruption, as well as to presentations relating to digital platforms for investors and road safety. In a different context, the President of the Republic sent on Saturday a message of congratulations to Charles III, proclaimed King of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, in which he wrote the following: "On the occasion of your accession to the throne, with the centuries-old traditions of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, please receive your Majesty, on behalf of the Algerian people and government and on my behalf, my warmest congratulations and my best wishes for the health and happiness. Your foresight and noble human qualities will undoubtedly guide your actions in the service of your country. I remain equally convinced that your usual commitment to the achievement of international peace and security and to continue defending the just causes will be eloquently manifested. This happy occasion gives me the opportunity to congratulate myself on the excellent relations between our two countries and to express to your Majesty my firm determination and my total commitment to maintain the coordination, consultation and cooperation between our two countries in the best interest of our two peoples, and further strengthen the relations of friendship and bilateral cooperation. While reiterating my warm congratulations, I would like you to receive, Your Majesty, my esteem and distinguished consideration," concluded the President of the Republic. In another development, the Army General Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Saïd Chinguereha, chaired at the premises of the National Defense Ministry an award ceremony in honor of the National Cynotechnic Military Team under the command of the National Gendarmerie, following their participation in the honorable exercise of Loyal Friend, which took place in Uzbekistan as part of the International Military Games annually organized in the Russian Federation. The details with Melissa Kobash.
The ceremony took place in the presence of the Secretary General of the National Defense Ministry, Commandments of Forces and National Gendarmerie, Central Directors of the National Defense Ministry, and military staff. In his keynote speech, Army General Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Saïd Chinguereha, congratulated on behalf of the President of the Republic, Supreme Chief of the Armed Forces, National Defense Minister, and the entire military staff. The National Military Cynotechnic Team, who honored Algeria and the National People's Army during its participation in the exercise Ami Fidèle, or Loyal Friend competition, which took place on the 15th and 27th of August in Uzbekistan. The Army General added that the team was the best ambassador of Algerian military sport and that the National People's Army are truly proud of, adding that they've engraved their success and the history of this international military championship through their results that consecrate the message of peace, love, friendship and brotherhood conveyed by the slogan of these games organized annually in Russia and that corresponds to our noble national values. The Army General Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Said Shangriha, also mentioned that the exceptional results, which add to the remarkable success achieved by our national team in the Specialty Airborne Section 2022, recently hosted by Algeria, the team have demonstrated the great steps taken by military sport in Algeria in different disciplines, thanks to the continuing interest and support of the High Command in the field of sports and physical education within the National People's Army. The Army General took this opportunity to express his sincere thanks and deep gratitude to the coaches and technical staff who, through their desire to succeed and their love for their homeland, confirmed that the managers and staff of the National People's Army, who carry Algeria in their hearts, will spare no efforts to snatch a victory, not only in sport but in all fields, adding that he's convinced that the competence and professionalism of the military executives and staff, alongside their awareness and responsibility assigned to them, will always encourage them to assume with determination and enthusiasm the assigned missions of their beloved homeland. At the end of the ceremony, the athletes were awarded encouragement certificates and a collective photo was taken in memory of the event.
In other news, the President of the Constitutional Court, Omar Belhaj, is taking part from the 10th until the 12th of September in Cairo in the proceedings of the 6th high-level meeting of the Presidents of Constitutional Courts and African Constitutional Courts. The theme of the role of constitutional courts in the development of African people will be discussed during the meeting. On this occasion, Omar Belhaj made a presentation on the Algerian experience in the field entitled Transition from the regime of the Constitutional Council to the regime of Constitutional Court in Algeria and its impact on the promotion of human rights and freedoms of citizens, a presentation during which he discussed the prerogatives of the Constitutional Court and the promotion of human rights as it reflects one of the main concerns of the high authorities of the country. In a different context, the Sahrawi human rights activist Sultana Khaya arrived in Paris, where she received a warm welcome from the Sahrawi people and French civil society. Sultana Khaya impressed the participants by her strength and determination to fight for her people and voice their legitimate rights. A report by Afaf Belhouchet, commentary by Sabrin Tafrganit.
With a heartwarming welcoming, Sultana Khaya was received by the Sahrawi community in Ile-de-France, a welcome that suits perfectly the icon she is, with her peaceful resistance, a civil society that chose her to be a spokesperson for the fight of people for independence in the Parisian Association Forum in the 15th district in the capital of France. Sultana Khaya was for more than a year and 7 months besieged in her house with her family. We also tried to well educate the French about the human rights violations in Western Sahara and that France has a significant role to play. A stand is put to profit by Sultana Khaya with the aim to increase awareness of French associations participating, especially those that fight for human rights. It is also the perfect occasion to remind young Sahrawi people who are in exile of the importance of participating at their level. Explain as well this fight for survival, which is ignored by French civil society. She is a good person, a woman that won't give up fighting for her Sahrawi people. We need more people like her so that we could resist and fight the Moroccan oppression. She represents the Sahrawi people in a way that gives glory and pride to our martyrs. Young people are the ones to carry the message. We hope that they will deliver it. I thank the French civil society for this opportunity.
رابطة جمعيات فرنسا يعني هذه الفرصة اللي أعطاونا يعني نتكلموا بها عن هاي المعاناة اللي يعانيها الشعب الصحراوي.
In the French parliament, Sultana Khaya testified the oppression that she went through, an oppression that still has a grip on her people. In the occasion of a meeting with the parliamentarian Jean-Paul Lecoq, hoping that he would transfer her testimony to his colleagues. My visit to the French parliament was an opportunity to bring up the oppression practiced against the Sahrawi people from 1975 to this day. We are seeking justice.
احنا اللي ندوروا على الحق لا ندخل الشق الثاني هو حق ومعاناة هذا الشعب نتكلم عنها نعطى لها يعني عنها فرصة اللي هي تقرر فيها مصيرها وحريتها.
Surtout, je pense que des personnalités comme elle ont un impact.
I think that people like her have a significant impact on citizens and also on the position of certain countries like France. We know that France is involved in this conflict and not always on the right side of it. What we demand and what she demands as well is that France would have a positive role and would contribute positively in a fairly sustainable solution based on the autodetermination rights of Sahrawi people, safety and stability and cooperation in the region. In the same spirit, Sultana Khaya will host a conference on the occasion of humanity event at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Moving on to Morocco, where the people took to the streets once again to denounce the normalization of relations with the Zionist entity, in addition to the sexual aggressions committed by diplomatic representatives of the Zionist entity in Rabat. More insights with Medisa Kubash.
حرقوا حرقوا مزقوا لا تبقوا حرقوا حرقوا مزقوا لا تبقوا حرقوا.
Manifestations across the Moroccan territories are multiplying, with the main goal in mind putting an end to the normalization with the Zionist entity. A sit-in was organized by dozens of Moroccans in front of the parliament in Rabat to denounce the normalization of their country with the Zionist entity in the wake of the prostitution scandals and the harassment committed at the Zionist embassy in Morocco, according to local media outlets. According to the same source, the protesters shouted slogans denouncing the relation between the Makhzen and the Zionist entity, blaming the Makhzen's head of diplomacy for the normalization of relations. This permanent fight by Moroccans has been going for the past months to denounce the normalization of relation with the Zionist entity and express their refusal for what they've called a shameful act and a betrayal for the Palestinian cause.
Still in Morocco, where the National Union of Moroccan Teachers are threatening to boycott the new academic year as they are still denouncing social injustice and harsh living conditions. Story by Sabrina Ferganit.
present here to protest against the higher education sector failure. Demonstrations are taking place on a daily basis where Moroccans are expressing their outrage towards their government. Hundreds of teachers are demonstrating in Moroccan roads, but surely oppressed by the police. The National Trade Union of Higher Education in Morocco threatening for a boycott, and it concerns the 2020-2023 academic return, marked this year by the high tension. University teachers are facing a system that is escaping its duties, notably taking care of this sector demands. According to members to the Administrative Committee of Teachers Trade Union, the successive meeting held with the government came with no tangible benefit and didn't concretize the promises, a real burden for the state, since the government chose to encourage private teaching at the expense of the public one. What's worse than that is the law affecting higher education that was proposed by the ministry. It confirms the total absence of political will to improve the socio-professional situation of teachers or reform public university. Talking about the dialogue between the two parties, committee members of SNISUP estimate that satisfying teachers' demands were dependent on the pressure practiced by SNISUP, calling to be vigilant and to be prepared to any form of demands after the 18th of September. These teachers will certainly not give up on their rights, facing a system determined to oppress.
And we wrap up our today's news with the local cultural festival for music and the Shawi song, organized after an absence of 4 years. Khinshla province held the opening ceremony of this 10th edition, which witnessed the participation of several young talented artists and stars of the Shawi song. And with this, our today's news edition comes to a close. Thank you for joining us, and goodbye.